Welcome back to Quoted by Tiff. I'm Tiffany, and today I'm going to be talking about something a little different. I'm going to be talking about, I think my last episode was about what astrology is and what astrology isn't. So this episode, I'm going to actually dive into astrology and give you guys a little game, put you up on game. So today, this show is titled Your Moon Sign and Your Relationship or How You Experienced Your Mother. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going down the zodiac, and if your moon is in a particular sign, you're going to listen to that part, and it's basically going to tell you how your relationship with your mother was. Keep in mind that your siblings probably have a different moon sign than you, so they probably experienced your mother in a different way than you did, and that's fine. It's a little bit interesting to kind of gauge how your siblings felt about your mother or how they experienced your mother and how you experienced your mother. It could be totally different. So this should be juicy, y'all. Anyway, I know I've been gone for a while. I think my last show was like a month ago. I actually been working on some schoolwork. As you guys know, I'm in school. I'm in a master's degree program. So sometimes that gets a little bit challenging and I have to put some stuff down and work on that. But I'm back. I never quit on this show is my baby. So I'm never going to quit on this show. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so guys, first I want to let you guys know what the moon represents in astrology. In astrology, the moon represents feminine energy. It represents your mother. It represents your grandmother, your aunts, any of the women, feminine, in your family. The moon also represents family, and also the moon is associated with the zodiac sign of Cancer. I'm a Cancer. Usually people that are cancers, they exude femininity. It doesn't matter. They probably like a girly girl, or they probably appear to be a girly girl. And also they have strong emotions as well as a strong intuition. So again, this is for your moon sign. This is not for your sun sign. So don't be listening to this and be like, I'm a Pisces. No, we're not talking about your sun sign. We are talking about your moon sign. If you do not know what your moon sign is, what you need to do is go to astrocharts.com and pull your chart so that you can follow along. Your moon represents who you are internally versus what you show to other people, your emotions. Your feminine side, even for men, your feminine side. That's what your moon sign shows. So I'm going to go down the zodiac sign, starting with the first sign of Aries, and I'm just going to go from there. So how this is going to go is I'm going to, moon in Aries, and I'm going to tell you how you probably experienced your mother. Now, keep in mind, guys, that if you don't have the right time for your birth chart, your moon could be something different. So you have to make sure you have accurate times when you're pulling that chart. So anyway, let's start with moon in Aries. If your moon is in Aries, you probably experienced your mother as a bit independent. Kind of nobody could hold her back. She was always on the go doing something, or she always was dragging you with her. She was someone that was probably very strong, and people just didn't fuck with her. Like, she was probably a fighter. Even if she seemed like she was a little mellow, if somebody tapped into that side of her, she could, pop off real quick. People with moon in Aries probably experience their mother as kind of, how can I say it? I'm trying to find the right word without saying chaotic, because it's not chaotic. It's more so on the move. Let's just say on the move. People with their mother, if you have a moon in Aries, you probably experienced your mother as on the move. She probably took you everywhere she went, and she probably was more of a friend to you than a mom to you, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to say you didn't have rules, because you most likely did have rules, but they weren't the same kind of rules as a typical household would be. She was more along the line of, she was independent, so she probably wanted you to be the independent as well. So yeah, that's moon in Aries. Now, if you have a moon in Taurus, people with moon in Taurus, they probably experienced their mother as someone who was very structured. Let's think about what Taurus is for a minute. Taurus energy is an earth energy. So it's very grounded, it's very structured, it's very reliable. The household was probably very structured. You had bedtime, you had dinner time, I'm not gonna say your mom didn't play, but she didn't play about you when it came to kind of having a structured household. She also probably experienced the death of one of her parents by the time you were born, either her mother or her father, depending on which house your moon is in. Your mother probably also has a lot of secrets when it comes to like trauma when she was younger. Some things you probably know, some things you probably don't know. And most of all, your mother probably was always working. Or if she wasn't working, she always had money. She was always taking care of the household in a way where it kind of confused you because you don't know where she's getting the money from, but she still provided for you. She made sure that you had your wants and needs. So that's Moon in Taurus. Next we have, what are we? We was at Aries, Taurus, we're at Gemini. Moon in Gemini. Okay. If you have a moon in Gemini, you probably experienced your mother as someone who was very outgoing, someone who probably had a few close friends that would always come to the house, somebody who was very vocal. Because if we think about Gemini energy, we're thinking about thinking and communication and travel, kind of domestic travel, most likely. She probably was always on the go, going somewhere, speaking to people. I would even go on the verge to say that somebody that has a Gemini moon, they probably experienced their mother as someone who was very smart, because Gemini does represent education, learning, thinking. Also, your mom was probably very slick at the mouth. And when I say slick at the mouth, I mean she probably said what she wanted to say all the time. And sometimes it was at very inconvenient times. Sometimes she probably could have been quiet when she was talking, and sometimes you probably got embarrassed of that. People with Gemini moon tend to kind of view their mother as someone who didn't really, I don't want to say didn't give any rules, but someone who paid more attention to friends or kind of social activities than she did to you. You probably felt like she could have been more emotionally available to you. And you have to understand that's an error. Okay, guys. So if your moon sign is in Cancer. Okay, so when we think about Cancer, the moon is comfortable in the sign of Cancer, meaning Cancer is ruled by the moon, which means your mother probably wanted to be a mom. She probably was anticipating to be a mom. So, well, actually, it could go one of two ways. Your mother was probably anticipating being a mom, or depending on what house this placement is in, your mom, you probably don't have the best relationship with your mom. There's dualities to it. You probably, on one end, you probably felt your mother was like a helicopter mom, always watching over what you do, very nurturing, very giving, very generous. And another part, if you resonate with the other side of this, you probably felt like your mom was a bit too strict. Your mom was a bit too uncaring. Remember, our moon is our emotional inheritance that we get from the feminine in our family. So maybe your mom had trouble expressing her emotions and maybe you didn't, and maybe that's where it clashed. A lot of these signs can go one of two ways. Cancer is one of them, especially the water signs, I believe. So you probably felt that your mother was either a helicopter mom or didn't pay enough attention to you. Cancers are naturally nurturing. So your mom probably was nurturing in her own way. She either, always paid attention to your emotion, always kind of took you under her wing. Or you could have experienced her as very controlling, wanting to control everything that you do. There are dualities to each sign. Cancer isn't the exception. All of the signs can be experienced either way. That's why you see two different Cancers act two different ways. It all depends on where this falls in your chart and what the what the placement is, and it also depends on what planets are touching the moon or that particular planet. So with the moon in Cancer, your mom probably growing up did not get enough love from her mother. Either she lost her mother very young, or her mother was very overbearing in a sense of strict, or always, she could never do anything right. And so as a result of that, you growing up, she was either very, very nurturing, or she took on the role in which her mother and the way she treated her. I would say my advice, if you do have a Cancer moon dealing with your mother, be patient with her. Make sure that she knows that you're there if you need her, but also don't subject her, if she is kind of abusive or, controlling, don't subject yourself to that. Make sure that you move away from that. As a matter of fact, if you do have a Cancer moon, your relationship with your mom has changed over time. When you were younger, you probably looked up to her. When you got older, you probably seen the way she was, or you did not like the way she treated you, so you kind of distance yourself from her, and you raise your kids in a totally different way, because that's how that could manifest as well. Okay, y'all, so that was Cancer. Now we're going to do Moon and Leo. Okay, Moon and Leo. Leo is, first of all, Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun illuminates everything. Your mom was probably a ball of energy. She probably was bold, she probably was loud, and she probably said exactly what was on her mind. You experienced her that way. She probably had a lot of people that liked her. Especially a lot of lovers. She probably, a lot of people probably liked her. She was able to, I like to say finesse. That's my favorite word when I talk about this. She was able to finesse men out of their money in order to take care of you. I'm not gonna say all people with a Leo moon are like that, but people with a Leo moon, their mother was very expressive. Their mother did not mind asking for what she want, and she didn't have any problem getting it. Also, that probably embarrassed you a little bit growing up. You probably were a little embarrassed by your mom because she was loud, because she was very kind of eccentric, or she did not mind, saying exactly what was on her mind. And she probably pressured you to do the same thing. You were probably very shy growing up. You were probably very timid. And she probably tried to bring your expression out of you, and it didn't work until you became an adult. As an adult, as you grew older, you probably experience her as the same way, but now that you have a little wisdom under your belt, you probably understand why she was like that, and you probably have taken on some of those traits as well. When you have a Leo moon, you experienced your mother as brave and confident. Leo is the sign that exudes confidence. Leo represents like the lion. You're gonna hear a lion roar. A lion could be down the street and you're gonna hear that roar. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to hear it, because that's what Leo represents. Your mother was probably very good looking as well. She probably took a lot of pride in how she looked, how her hair looked, and she probably encouraged you to do the same thing. Okay, that was Moon in Leo. We're going to do Moon in Virgo. Moon in Virgo. Okay, so when your moon is in Virgo, you, off the bat, your mother probably experienced some type of mental health issue. It could be depression, it could be bipolar, it could be schizophrenia, it could be PTSD, it could be OCD. But your mom, whether you knew it or not, experienced some mental health issues. It was probably known or unknown. Your mom probably acted weird sometimes and you didn't understand why, but she probably was suffering from some mental health issues. Virgo represents mental health. It represents well-being, self-care. It's ruled by Mercury, so it also represents thinking. Virgos think a lot. I say they think too much. They think their way right out of opportunities. I know people with Virgo moons, and they talk a lot about what they want to do, but they don't do it, or they end up talking themselves out of it because they think it's a bad idea. I think with your moon in Virgo, you experienced your mother as overly critical. Everything you did, probably it was a problem. It was probably, hey, your shirt is wrinkled. Go take it off and iron it. Or I like to think of Moon in Virgo as that mother when you clean the kitchen and you wipe the cabinet and you go in your room, and a minute later your mom comes into the kitchen and she wipes that same cabinet because she feels that you didn't do it right. That is Moon in Virgo. Very strategic, very meticulous. You probably experienced her as a busybody. She probably had a lot of thoughts. She was a thinker, and most likely she has health problems, or if she does not have health problems, she's probably very health conscious, meaning she's always at the doctor. She's always making sure, everything is right with her body and yours as well. And most of the time, people with a mom with a Virgo moon, they tend to stick beside her as an adult. So you probably, as a kid, you probably didn't realize what was wrong with your mom, but as an adult, now that you know, you probably now try to shield her or help her in some kind of way, if that makes sense. So yeah, Moon in Virgo. Interesting. My mom's a Virgo, by the way. Okay, so the next thing, what's that? The Virgo? Libra? Oh, Moon in Libra. So if you had a Moon in Libra, you probably experienced your mother as, I don't want to say a perfectionist, but she was one of those type of people that she wanted things to look good on the outside, but when you go into the home, it's chaotic. Um, let's keep in mind it's duality. Libra is a duality sign, meaning I think Libra and Gemini are that way. Libra represents the scales, so it could go either way. You probably had a mom that was that wanted everything to look perfect, but on the inside of the house, it was chaotic. Or you probably had a mom that it was chaotic on the outside, but when you got into the house, it wasn't chaotic. It could go either way. One thing that I find with Moon and Libras is all or nothing. So your mom was probably an extreme person. If she, depending on where this falls in your chart, if she had any type of addictions, it was probably really bad. But if she didn't have any type of addiction, she never did anything. Meaning she never smoked, she never drank, nothing. I think Moon in Libras is very hard to kind of describe it because again, it's all or nothing. It's duality. It could be either or. But one thing that I will say, Libra is ruled by Venus. So with Venus, we're looking at beauty, we're looking at relationships. And one thing that I can say with a Moon in Libra, your mom probably always had a man or a woman, I support LGBTQ. She probably always had a man. She probably always had a lover. She was able to finesse. She was able to get, she probably found lovers that had a lot of money or that were probably well off that could take care of her, because that's what Libra seeks out. Libra seeks out people that are able to help their image in some type of way, because you also have to remember Venus is also money. Venus is also earned income. It represents everything from art to creativity to love to relationships. And Libra, one thing that I know about the Libra energy in general, they always have a man and the man always got money. And that's just facts. Even the men that are Libras, they always have these beautiful girlfriends. They look at one thing about a Moon and Libra energy is they look at what's on the outside before they look at what's on the inside. So a lot of times with a Moon and Libra, you probably experience your mom as having a man, but then she broke up with him because she figured out he wasn't no good. And that's one thing that Libras are. Libras will break up with you because they get bored easily. So you probably found your mom taking on a lot of things and not finishing them. Okay, so that was Moon in Libra. Now we're on to Moon in Scorpio. I'm a Moon in Scorpio, y'all. So this hits home for me. So it's not, I say Moon in Scorpio is not an easy placement to have. We have to think about, like I said earlier, I keep saying emotional inheritance. You're getting this emotional inheritance. You're inheriting it from your mother and your grandmother and your great grandmother, and with Moon in Scorpio, it's like you are experiencing or you got passed down all the trauma from the family. You probably experienced your mother as either overbearing or always like on you, or your mother probably left you. This can be either emotionally, or you probably did not feel loved by your mother. You probably experienced things such as moving a lot when you were younger, or your mother probably left you with people a lot when you were younger. You also probably experienced a lot of issues when it came to your mother actually expressing her feelings to you. It was kind of like you were that kid that you could do nothing right. You got blamed for everything. You just felt like you were always in trouble, always doing something wrong. And you were also, I like to say that you probably felt like the scapegoat. Your mom probably made you feel like you were the scapegoat for all the problems when none of the stuff was really your fault. I have a moon in Libra. I don't have the best relationship with my mom. I don't have anything bad to say about her, but I don't have the best relationship with her. Um, Usually when people with moon and Scorpio get older, they start to come to an understanding of, this is how my mom is, so I'm going to distance myself. I think a lot of people with moon and Scorpio, I'm not going to say they have a bad relationship with their mom, but they start to have certain realizations when they get older, and they're able to cope with it and move on with their lives. You probably also experience your mom as very secretive, very kind of backstabbing, if that makes sense. Probably these moms are the moms that I like to think of as the ones that when you get in trouble or something happens, they get on the phone and call the whole family and talk about how fucked up you are. That's how I look at moon and Scorpio. That's how I experienced it. So yeah, the best advice I can give moon and Scorpio is try to have some type of relationship with your mom. It does not have to be, y'all don't have to be buddy every day. Y'all don't have to be calling each other every day, but come to terms with who she is so that she can come to terms with who you are as an adult. Okay, now we are on moon in Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarius, first of all, Sagittarius represents Jupiter. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of abundance, overindulgence. I like to say overindulgence, luck. But it's the kind of luck that I feel like people with moon in Sagittarius are very lucky, but they never know that they are lucky. Especially if you have moon in Sagittarius, your mom probably brought you a lot of luck. And when I say that, I mean, like, your mom probably bought you a lot of gifts. Your mom probably bought you what you asked for. And when you were younger, you probably didn't ask so much. And your mom also probably surprised you with a lot of gifts. Also, your mom was probably a very important person. And when I say important, she doesn't have to be a celebrity or anything like that. Or she could be. But by important, I mean she's a very spiritual person. You probably experienced her as a very smart person, someone who knows a lot, someone who has been through a lot, and someone who shares their wisdom. I like to think of these people that have moon in Sagittarius as having mothers that were teachers. This could either be a teacher in an elementary school, or this could be a teacher in a bigger sense of teaching adults, just spreading her knowledge and things that she knows. You also experienced your mom as someone who would let you go off and do your own thing, but she would always stick her head in like, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? She probably just let you do your own thing. Not in a sense of her abandoning you, but in a sense of her allowing you to come into your own without her kind of molding you. That's how I think of a moon in Sagittarius. The best advice that I could probably give for a moon in Sagittarius is cherish your mother. Cherish her. People with moon in Sagittarius, your mom definitely has been through a lot. That's why she is so wise. So just cherish her. Take in that knowledge while you still can. Okay, so now we're moving on to moon in Capricorn. If you have moon in Capricorn, first of all, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is all about responsibility, taking accountability, learning lessons, and I like to think of Saturn as your emotional and your inheritance from your father, because Saturn represents your father in astrology, your inheritance from your father. So with the moon in Capricorn, your mother probably did everything on her own. She probably was a jack of all trades. She probably surprised you with the things that she knew how to do. Also, you probably experienced your mother as somebody who was a workaholic, somebody who worked a lot, somebody who took pride in being able to provide. These are the mothers that will run a whole household by themselves. You probably also experienced your mother as someone who not made you grow up too fast, but taught you things so that when you grow up, you weren't lost. So she probably depended on you a lot to do things for yourself, but she didn't leave you to do them for yourself. She probably taught you and expected you to do them on your own. Moon in Capricorn, I also see you experiencing your mother as someone who was wise, someone who was very structured in the way that she did things. And also, what I find with people with Moon in Capricorn, your mother probably raised you as a single mother at some point. You probably were either raised by a single mother, or your parents were probably married at first and they probably divorced when you were young and you were raised by your mother for a majority of the time. The best advice that I have for someone with Moon in Capricorn is just taking all that knowledge from your mom. Your mom has a lot to teach you. She has a lot to show you. So take in that knowledge because it's all to make you a better person. Oh, Moon. Another thing with Moon in Capricorn, when you have Moon in Capricorn, your mother probably lost a parent when she was younger, and it was probably her father. So it's kind of like your mom probably has daddy issues because she lost her father when she was younger, and you kind of inherited that. So the way that that's going to probably manifest in your life is either you're not going to have kids, or when you do have children, you're going to be very responsible and you're going to be very active in their lives. I can see a male that has Moon in Capricorn taking custody of his kids and raising them on his own. Like, I can definitely see a male Moon in Capricorn like that. Okay, so now we have come to Moon in Aquarius. Moon in Aquarius, let's think about that. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is the planet of the unexpected, the innovative, it's also the planet of technology, the planet of sudden changes. And with your Moon in Aquarius, you probably experienced your childhood as abrupt, things happening abruptly. You know, you had to move abruptly. Somebody passed away abruptly. You know, circumstances changed abruptly. There was always a sense of abruptness in your household. And your mom probably experienced so many things that you know, some you know about, some you most likely don't know about in her life. Some things that have happened. You know, she probably lost her mother. And it probably happened suddenly. There are things that happen in your life, in your childhood, that just happen suddenly. I can also see Moon in Aquarius probably getting a lot of surprises from their mom. Either good surprises or bad surprises, y'all. Your mom probably surprised you with a lot of things. I can see you having a computer growing up in the household. Aquarius represents technology and social media, socializing, because it is an air sign. So you probably experienced your mom as having a lot of friends, but none of them were close. So she had so many friends, but you always viewed her as maybe lonely or alone, because she probably was the type of person that even in a room full of people, she felt alone. And she probably has never told you that. But usually when I see people with Moon in Aquarius, you're inheriting that from her, that sense of loneliness. And in this life, you are learning how to cope, and how to cope when no one's around, and also how to receive people when they are around. Okay, so that was Aquarius, Moon in Aquarius. Now let's move on to the last sign of the zodiac, which is Pisces. Moon in Pisces. Y'all, my mom has Moon in Pisces. But Pisces is ruled by Neptune. However, in ancient astrology, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. I think that's Hellenistic astrology. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. So it can be either or. But again, Pisces is ruled by Pisces home is in the 12th house. The 12th house is the house of the unknown, intuition, self-undoing, self-sabotage, mental health, institutions. So you probably experienced your mom as somebody who was mysterious. You could not really grasp who she was, because you never knew exactly what she has been through. Your childhood was probably hazy. So either your mom was a very spiritual person, maybe going to church all the time, teaching you about God, or she was probably spiritual in a sense of, like an astrology or other stuff that is spiritual and not kind of doesn't fit into the religious thing. So your mom was probably very secretive because Pisces is a secretive sign. They know a lot, but they don't say a lot. They see a lot, but they act like they don't see it. So your mom was probably filled with knowledge. She had a very, very strong intuition and she used it. But also, you probably experienced your mom as being a bit childish or a bit like not responsible in a sense. You probably felt older than her growing up. You probably felt like you were mothering her, even though, she's your mother. But at the end of the day, the thing about Pisces is they are really, I don't want to say delusional, but I am going to say delusional because that's the type of energy that they exude. You probably experience your mom as delusional, having all these pie in the sky dreams, but never going through with them. But she had a strong faith in herself and her intuition. So a lot of times she let things happen the way that they are going to happen because she knows that they're going to go in her favor. That is the thing about Pisces energy. Pisces energy is not really an active energy. Pisces energy, again, if someone has a moon in Pisces, that means in other lifetimes they've went through every zodiac sign and they are at the 12th house in Pisces, meaning they've experienced all that and they already know not to push. So your mom probably didn't push or press the issue in a lot of things. She probably was a very like free spirit, like whatever, it's gonna happen. Whatever happens, happens. That kind of energy. And that probably scared you growing up because you didn't know what was gonna happen next and your mom did not reassure you, if that makes sense. So y'all, that was all the signs. I think I did all of them. I hope that this brought you clarity. I hope that this can help you, especially if you don't have a good relationship with your mom. I hope that this can help you understand who she is and also who you are, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. That's the goal, trying to understand who we are. So y'all, that's all I got. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Quoted by Tiff. And until next time, love you.